The galaxy had grown used to Earth's silence. For thousands of years, no human ship had crossed the stars, no human voice had answered the signals sent by alien empires. To most, humanity was only a legend. Stories whispered of a species that once shook the galaxy, that once fought wars no one else dared fight, and then vanished without explanation. But legends had a strange way of surviving. On the edge of the Orion Arm, in a quiet outpost run by the Trillari, a scaled alien scholar named Vera studied the old records. She was small with shimmering green scales and wide golden eyes, and she loved myths. The human archives fascinated her most. She had read about their strange world called Earth, a planet rich in oceans, forests, and storms. The records described humans as short-lived but unyielding, clever enough to twist nature into tools and terrible weapons. Yet Earth was silent now. The last human transmission was thousands of years old. Vera often wondered if the species had burned itself away. Still, she returned to the archives each night, reading the scraps of data, blueprints of ships, photographs of smiling faces, fragments of music and art. One image haunted her most: a small, fragile spacecraft named Voyager, carrying a golden record into the void. It was strange. Who sends music into the darkness unless they believe someone will hear it? Vera was staring at that golden disk when the alarms broke her silence. Her outpost scanners had picked up something, an energy spike, deep in the sector once marked as human territory. The reading was faint, but it matched no known empire, no known species. Her claws trembled as she pulled up the data. The signal was old, crackling, almost buried under cosmic noise. But she recognized it. It was human. She froze, her scales shifting pale with shock. The other Trillari laughed when she told them. They said it was interference, a ghost echo, nothing more. "Humanity is gone," they insisted. "You waste your time with dreams." But Vera couldn't let it go. The signal was real, she felt it, and it came from Earth. The next cycle, she secretly sent a copy of the data to the Galactic Council. They dismissed it just as her people had. But one counselor, a cautious reptilian warlord named Zor, called her in private. His message was brief. "Do not speak of this again. If humanity stirs, the galaxy must be ready." The words chilled her more than comforted her. Meanwhile, far away, on a planet thought dead, Earth turned slowly under the sun. For centuries, storms had raged across abandoned cities. Nature had swallowed towers of steel. But deep beneath the ruins, machines had slept. They had waited, silent guardians of a world left behind. On this day, something shifted. A buried vault stirred as ancient codes unlocked. Lights flickered on for the first time in millennia. In the darkness, voices whispered. Recordings of humans long gone, repeating words of hope and warnings of war. Above the Earth, in orbit long forgotten, a massive station powered itself back to life. Its hull was scarred, its systems cracked, but its heart beat again. The station extended antennas, listening, searching. It found the galaxy. A message pulsed outward, a simple signal carried on ancient frequencies. Earth endures. Earth awakens. Across nearby systems, ships stopped in awe. Traders, smugglers, even war fleets, all of them caught the faint human signal. The galaxy that had buried Earth's memory now whispered again of humans. The council met in secret session. Some laughed, some feared, some remembered. Old empires that once fought humanity trembled at the thought of their return. "Impossible," one delegate said. "Humanity destroyed itself." "Or it hid," another whispered. "Or it waited," Zor growled. The signal repeated, steady, unstoppable. Back on the Trillari outpost, Vera's heart pounded. She had been right. The silence was ending. She stood at her window, staring at the stars, knowing the galaxy would never be the same again, because Earth had spoken. And legends, once awake, never slept again. The galaxy reacted like a beast suddenly disturbed from its rest. The human signal spread faster than fire across dry grass. Traders carried it in their ship logs, smugglers whispered it in secret bars, and scholars argued over its meaning. Every species remembered something different about humans. For the Varkesh, A reptilian warrior race, humans were the ones who refused surrender even when outnumbered 100-1. For the Soralith, a species of tall, silver-skinned philosophers, humans were the ones who dared to argue with them, challenge their wisdom, and sometimes even prove them wrong. To the smaller races, humans had been protectors, wild, unpredictable protectors, but ones who stood up against tyrants when no one else dared. To the great empires, however, humanity had been a threat. On the war-torn moon of Calrith, an old general of the Drakari Empire remembered the war against Earth's fleets. He had seen humans charge with ships smaller and weaker than theirs, yet somehow win by turning their weakness into strength. He remembered human commanders who used tricks, who made traps out of empty space, who could make fear itself into a weapon. His scarred face twisted when the news reached him. "If they return," he growled to his officers, "we must be ready." But what truly terrified the galaxy was not the signal itself, it was what might follow. If Earth was awake, then what else lay hidden? Ships? Armies? A fleet waiting in the shadows? No one knew. And that ignorance made everyone uneasy. The Galactic Council held emergency meetings. The chambers were vast, built to hold hundreds of species, but the sound of voices made it feel too small, too crowded. Delegates shouted over each other. "It is only a trick!" cried one. "It is proof of life!" shouted another. "If humans live, then war will follow," growled Zor, the reptilian warlord. The council leader, a Soralith elder named Lyra, raised her long arms for silence. "Enough. We do not know the truth yet. The signal proves Earth stirs, but not whether humanity survives. We must send observers, quietly. If humans live, we must know. If they return, we must be prepared." The chamber fell into uneasy silence. Everyone agreed, but for different reasons, some with hope, others with fear. Far away, Vera sat in her small study on the Trillari outpost. She had become something of a celebrity among scholars because she had noticed the signal first. Yet she did not enjoy the attention. Her heart was restless. She wanted to see Earth with her own eyes. She wanted to know if the species she had studied for years truly lived again. One night, she received another private message. It was from an unknown source, encrypted in an old human code. She stared at the glowing screen, her scales trembling. How could anyone still use human codes? The message was short. "Do not fear. Earth watches. Soon Earth speaks." Her breath caught. She replayed the code again and again, checking for tricks, for fakes. But it was real. The encryption was too complex, too unique. Only humans had written it, which meant someone, somewhere, was alive. Meanwhile, on Earth itself, the awakening continued. The buried vaults spread their signals further. Ancient satellites powered up, forming a web of machines around the planet. Orbital defense systems flickered to life, rusty but still strong. The planet seemed like a giant stirring from sleep, stretching its arms after a long slumber. Deep beneath what had once been North America, an underground chamber opened. Inside, tall cylinders lined the walls. In one of them, a figure lay in deep stasis. Human. His chest rose slowly as life returned. His eyes opened for the first time in centuries. His name was Commander Elias Kane, once leader of Earth's last fleet. His body ached, his mind swam with memories, but his first thought was clear. Earth lives. Screens around him came alive, showing the stars, showing transmissions from the galaxy. He heard the voices of alien empires again, and rage mixed with sorrow in his heart. Humanity had not been destroyed. Humanity had hidden, waiting for the right moment. Now that moment had come. Kane stepped out of the stasis pod. Around him, other pods began to open. Men and women, soldiers and scientists, engineers and pilots, all humans, waking after endless years. The underground chamber shook as power surged through forgotten machines. "Report," Kane ordered, his voice hoarse but strong. A woman in a white uniform bowed slightly. "Sir, Earth systems are online." The signal was sent. "We have confirmation. The galaxy has heard us." Kane smiled, though it was grim. "Good, then let them fear. Let them remember." Above Earth, the old orbital station shifted its orbit. Panels opened. releasing swarms of drones that glowed like sparks against the night sky. Slowly, steadily, humanity was returning, and across the galaxy, whispers grew louder. The silent Earth had awakened. The awakening of humanity did not stay hidden for long. Across the stars, the signal from Earth became a shadow over every council meeting, every war plan, every trade deal. Even the smallest species spoke of it in hushed tones. They remembered too well what humans had been capable of. On the Trillari outpost, Vera could no longer keep her excitement quiet. She studied the encrypted human message again and again, comparing it with the records she had collected for years. Every time the result was the same. It was real. She wanted to tell the galaxy. She wanted to shout it into the stars. But her instincts warned her to be careful. If she revealed the truth too soon, fear might destroy humanity before it could even rise again. Still, she could not resist reaching out. She began sending small signals back, hidden among normal transmissions. She asked questions. She begged for answers. For many nights there was nothing, only silence. Then at last a reply came. "We see you. We will return." Her heart raced. The humans were alive. Meanwhile, on Earth, Commander Elias Kane walked through the underground vault, watching as thousands of stasis pods opened. Men and women stepped out slowly, some coughing, some weak, but all alive. Engineers rushed to bring power back to the great machines. Soldiers stood at attention, though their hands trembled. Scientists reactivated old computers filled with the knowledge of a forgotten age. Kane stopped before a wall that displayed the old symbol of Earth's United Fleet, a simple blue circle with a white star. He touched it with his hand, remembering the last war. Humanity had faced extinction then. The alien empires had united against them, too afraid of their growing strength. Earth had fought until its fleets were broken, its worlds burned. In the end, Kane had ordered the survivors into deep stasis, hiding beneath the ruins of their homeworld. Now, they had awoken. And the galaxy was unprepared. "Status of the orbital defenses?" Kane asked. A young officer replied, "Satellites are 70% functional. Automated cannons still respond, but some are damaged. Repair drones are active." "Good," Kane said. "And the fleet?" The officer hesitated. "Most ships were destroyed during the war. Only fragments remain, but we do have something." She led Kane to another chamber. There, buried under layers of steel, lay a single warship. Its hull was scarred, its engines cracked, but its design was unmistakable, sleek, angular, human. The name was etched into its side, Eternal Dawn. Kane stared at it, his chest heavy with pride. "Then we are not powerless," he said. "This ship will fly again. Humanity will fly again." Outside, storms rolled over Earth's oceans. Lightning lit up the broken cities, while deep below, ancient machines repaired themselves. The planet itself seemed to breathe. Far beyond, in the heart of the Galactic Council, fear turned into plans. Delegates demanded fleets to patrol human space. Old enemies who hated each other now spoke of alliances. Jor, the reptilian warlord, stood tall and hissed, "If humanity has returned, we must strike before they recover. They are weak now, but if we wait, they will be strong again." Others argued for caution. Lyra, the Seralith elder, raised her voice. "If we attack too soon, we may confirm their fears. Humanity may rise only because we push them. What if we speak instead? What if we learn what they want?" "Humans never only want," Zor snarled. "They take." The council chamber broke into shouting again. But beneath it all, one truth was clear. Humanity's silence had ended, and nothing would ever return to normal. Back on Earth, Kane stood with his officers as the Eternal Dawn stirred. Lights flickered on across its hull. Power surged through its ancient systems. Kane could almost hear the heartbeat of the ship, steady and strong. "We will rebuild," he told them. "Not just for Earth, but for every human world that fell. We endured the silence. Now, we will endure the storm." The crew saluted, their voices rising together in a single cry. For Earth. For humanity. In the shadows of the galaxy, the words spread like wildfire. Earth was awake. Humans had returned, and the galaxy would tremble once more. The first flight of the Eternal Dawn shook Earth's skies. Engines that had been silent for centuries roared again as the warship rose above the ruins of ancient cities. Its steel hull, scarred by battles long past, reflected the sunlight as if the planet itself was proud to see it rise once more. Drones followed it, swarming like sparks, repairing panels, sealing cracks, polishing the name etched along its side. From orbit, the ship looked alive, a shadow against the blue curve of Earth. Humanity's silence was broken not only by signals, but now by movement. Commander Elias Kane stood on the bridge, his hands resting on the worn railing. Screens flickered with maps of nearby systems, radar scans, and communication feeds. Around him, men and women worked quickly, their faces determined. This was no longer a dream, they were back among the stars. "Report," Kane said. "Engines stable," a pilot called. "Weapons, 30% operational. Shields weak but functional." "Good," Kane replied. His voice was calm, but inside he felt a storm. He knew the galaxy was watching. They had already heard the signal. Now they would see the ship. And nothing created more fear than proof. Across the void, they were indeed watching. On distant stations, traders pointed trembling fingers at the warship rising from Earth. They transmitted the images to their fleets, who spread them further. Within days, the sight of the Eternal Dawn was known across the Council. The council chamber once again filled with noise. Holograms of the human ship floated above the center table, rotating slowly. "They fly again," one delegate whispered. "It is only one ship," another argued. "One ship was all it ever took with them," Zor, the reptilian warlord, growled. "Do you not remember how one human fleet broke 3 of ours? Do you not remember the colonies they defended, the worlds they refused to surrender?" The words silenced the chamber. Everyone remembered. Lyra, the Saralith elder, raised her voice. "If they have awakened, perhaps this is not war. Perhaps it is survival. Perhaps they, like us, only wish to live. Humans do not only live," Zor spat. "They fight. They conquer. They endure. If they rise again, our empires will fall." The chamber split into 2 sides, those who wanted peace and those who wanted preemptive war. But no one could decide. They all feared making the wrong choice. Back on Earth, Kane's eyes were fixed on the stars. "How long until they come?" he asked quietly. "Soon," his officer replied. "The galaxy will not ignore this." Kane nodded. "Then let them come. We will not hide anymore." But not all in the galaxy were enemies. Vera, on her small Trillari outpost, received a new transmission from the Eternal Dawn. The human encryption was clear. Her heart raced as she decoded it. The message read, "Watcher of myths, you believed. Now see, Earth rises. Will you stand with us or against us?" She stared at the words, her scales shimmering with unease. For years, she had dreamed of humanity's return. Now the dream was real, but it carried danger with it. To stand with humans was to risk everything. To stand against them was to betray what she believed. Her decision weighed heavy. But deep inside, she knew her choice. She whispered into the transmitter, "I will stand with you." The reply came almost instantly. "Then you are welcome, friend of Earth." Meanwhile, Kane prepared for the inevitable. The Eternal Dawn was not enough. They needed more ships, more power, more allies. "Begin reconstruction of the fleet," Kane ordered. "Scavenge the ruins, reactivate the factories. Humanity must be ready for war, even if peace never comes." Across the ruined cities, ancient machines awoke. Factories once silent lit up with fire. Smelters poured rivers of steel. Assembly lines built drones, weapons, and parts of new ships. Humanity, once forgotten, now moved with purpose. And in the sky above Earth, the Eternal Dawn patrolled. A silent warning to the galaxy. The legend had returned. In the council chambers, the arguments grew louder. Delegates demanded fleets near human space. Others demanded embassies, envoys, and peace treaties. No one could agree, but all knew one truth: Earth's awakening could not be stopped. In quiet corners, old veterans remembered the fear of human fleets. In hidden places, oppressed species whispered with hope. Perhaps, they said, humans would fight again, not for themselves, but for those who had no voice. But for now, the galaxy waited. And in that waiting, fear grew. The galaxy could not sit still anymore. The image of the eternal dawn rising from Earth had shaken every empire, every council, every fleet. Some feared it. Some admired it. But no one could ignore it. In hidden taverns on mining worlds, whispers spread. The oppressed species, the ones crushed under the boots of great empires, spoke of humans like saviors. If they rise again, one insectoid miner hissed to his friends, maybe they will fight for us like before. Maybe we will not be alone. But in the great halls of power, the voices were colder. On the warships of the Drakari Empire, generals sharpened their claws. "We must strike now," one barked. "Destroy Earth before its fleet grows. If we hesitate, we will regret it." In the chambers of the Seraph, some philosophers argued for peace. Perhaps humanity only defends itself, they said. If we reach them first, if we speak instead of fight, maybe they will listen. But most of the galaxy remembered only one thing. Humans had been unpredictable. They had built peace in one breath and waged war in the next. And now they were awake again. On Earth, Commander Elias Kane walked through the rebuilt command center of the Eternal Dawn. The ship hummed with new life. Screens glowed with maps of nearby systems. Engineers worked without rest. Drones brought parts from the old factories. Piece by piece, humanity was returning to the stars. Kane stood before his officers. "The galaxy knows we are awake. Some will come as allies, some as enemies. We must be ready for both." One of his officers, a woman named Arya Vale, frowned. "Sir, with one ship we cannot fight an empire. If the Drakari or the Varkesh send fleets, we will be crushed." Kane's gaze hardened. "Then we will not fight alone. Somewhere in this galaxy are voices waiting for help. The oppressed, the forgotten. We stood for them once. We will stand for them again. If they see us rise, they will come." His words carried across the chamber like fire. The officers nodded, their eyes sharp. Arya asked quietly, "And if the council chooses war?" Kane did not hesitate. "Then we remind them why humanity was feared." Far away, Vera prepared her small ship for departure. She had made her choice. She would not sit quietly while the galaxy argued. She would see Earth herself. Her friends warned her not to go. "The humans are dangerous," they said. "If they return, they will burn everything." But she shook her head. Danger does not erase truth. And the truth is, they endured. They are awake. I must know what that means. Her ship lifted off the outpost and vanished into hyperspace. She carried only a small bag, her research and her courage. The Galactic Council, meanwhile, was collapsing under fear. Delegates shouted, their voices echoing through the grand chamber. "If we do nothing, humans will rebuild their fleet," one cried. "We cannot risk another war," others demanded restraint. "If we attack, we may start the very war we fear." Jor, the reptilian warlord, slammed his claws against the table. "Enough! You all argue like hatchlings." "Humanity does not wait. Humanity acts. And if you wait for them to strike first, you will already be dead." Lyra, the Saralath elder, met his glare calmly. "And if we strike first, perhaps we give them reason to rise even stronger." The path of fear leads only to ruin. The chamber descended into chaos. Some wanted fleets sent at once. Others wanted peace talks. But no one could decide, and in that hesitation the shadow of Earth grew stronger. On Earth, Kane stood before a great hangar where machines worked endlessly. New hulls for ships took shape under glowing lights. The humans who had awoken from stasis worked with bare hands when machines failed, welding steel, fitting panels, building the future. Arya walked beside him. "It feels impossible," she whispered. Kane shook his head. "Nothing is impossible. Humanity was broken but not destroyed. We endured the silence. Now we endure the awakening." She looked up at the eternal dawn, shining above them like a beacon. "The galaxy is watching us," she said. "Good," Kane replied. "Let them watch. Let them remember." And high above, the warship moved slowly across the stars, its engines glowing bright. It was only one ship, but to the galaxy, it was enough to change everything, because a silent Earth had awakened, and the storm had only just begun. The galaxy's silence had ended. Now came the first movement. From the edges of human space, fleets began to gather, not human fleets, but alien ones. The Drakari Empire sent warships to patrol near the old human sectors. The Varkesh moved their cruisers closer, claiming they sought only to protect their borders. Even neutral traders armed themselves, afraid of what the awakening of Earth might mean. The Galactic Council remained divided. Some begged for peace talks. Others demanded a preemptive strike. But no decision came, and every day of hesitation gave humanity more time. On Earth, the rebuilding continued. The underground factories glowed with light for the first time in centuries. Machines forged steel, drones carried supplies, engineers and soldiers worked side by side. Slowly, the bones of new ships began to take shape. They were not as large as the Eternal Dawn, not yet, but they were strong enough to fly. Commander Elias Kane walked the factory floor, his boots echoing on metal. Workers stopped to salute as he passed. He nodded back, pride heavy in his chest. Humanity was waking faster than he dared hope. At his side, Arya Vale carried a data pad. "Sir, we can have 3 frigates flight-ready within months. But resources are limited. We will need allies if we want a true fleet." Kane's eyes narrowed. Allies? He looked at the stars through the open hangar doors. "There are species who once trusted us. If they see we are alive, they may return. Send signals, quiet ones. Let the oppressed know that Earth stands again." Arya hesitated. "And the Council?" Kane's jaw tightened. "Let them hear too. If they fear us, they will come. If they hope, they will come. Either way, they will not ignore us." Far away, Vera's ship slipped through hyperspace. She stared out at the shifting light of the tunnel, her heart racing. For years she had studied humans as myth. Now she flew to meet them. Her ship shuddered as she exited hyperspace near Earth. At once, alarms screamed. Human satellites locked onto her position, their weapons humming with energy. A voice thundered into her cabin, sharp and cold. "Unidentified vessel. You are in restricted space. State your purpose or be destroyed." Her claws trembled, but she forced her voice steady. "I am Vera of the Trillari. Scholar. Friend. I come to speak with humanity." There was silence. Then another voice, deeper, older. "Kane's. You were the one who believed," he said. "The watcher of myths. Approach. But know this. Earth does not welcome spies." Relief washed over her. She guided her ship down through the thick clouds, and for the first time, she saw Earth with her own eyes. Blue oceans, green forests, ruined cities covered in vines. It was beautiful and broken all at once. Her ship landed near a vast hangar. Soldiers approached, weapons ready but not hostile. They led her inside, where Kane himself waited. He was taller than she expected, his hair streaked with gray, his eyes sharp with fire. His presence filled the room. Vera bowed her head, unsure what else to do. "You sought us," Kane said simply. "Yes," she whispered. "I studied you. I never believed you were gone. And when I heard your signal, I knew. I knew the legends were true." Kane studied her for a long time. Finally, he nodded. "Then you are the first outsider to stand on Earth since the silence. You will tell us what the galaxy says. In return, you will learn what Earth has become." Vera's heart raced. She was not only a scholar anymore, she was a witness. In the council chamber, the news of Vera's journey arrived quickly. Reckless. One delegate shouted, "The Trillari risk war by sending an envoy alone." "They did not send her," another corrected. "She went on her own," Jor's voice cut through the noise. "Then she is a traitor to her kind. If she aids humanity, she chooses their side. And when humanity rises, she will burn with them." But Lyra, calm as ever, replied, "Or perhaps she is wise. Perhaps she will bring understanding where we bring only fear." The chamber broke into arguments again, but underneath it all, a truth grew clearer. The galaxy was splitting. Some prepared to destroy Earth, others whispered of alliance, and no one knew which side would act first. On Earth, Kane stood on the bridge of the Eternal Dawn with Vera beside him. Together they watched the stars. "The Council is afraid," Vera said softly. "Some want to destroy you before you grow. Others wish to speak, but they argue too much. They waste time." Kane's lips curved into a grim smile. "Good. Every moment they waste is a moment we gain. Humanity was always strongest when underestimated. He turned to his officers. Prepare the eternal dawn. We will take our first steps beyond Earth. Arya's eyes widened. Sir, are we ready? No, Kane admitted. But the galaxy must see us move. If they think we will wait, they will strike. If they see us rise, they will think twice. Engines roared. The eternal dawn lifted higher, breaking Earth's atmosphere, carrying humanity's flag into the void once more. For the first time in centuries, a human warship sailed between the stars, and across the galaxy, every sensor, every telescope, every watchful eye turned to follow it. The silence was broken. The awakening had begun. The stars were no longer silent. The eternal dawn moved through space with steady power, its engines glowing like blue fire. For centuries, no human ship had crossed the galaxy. Now its presence alone was enough to shake the balance of every empire. Commander Elias Kane stood on the bridge, his gaze fixed on the holographic map before him. Dots of light marked alien fleets near human space. Some were scouts. Some were warships. None dared cross into Earth's orbit, but none dared retreat either. They are waiting, Arya Vale said quietly beside him. Kane nodded. Yes, waiting to see what we will do. He turned to his officers. Then let us give them something to see. Set course for Eridan's system. It was once a human colony. If anything remains, we reclaim it. The order rippled across the ship like electricity. Crew members straightened, their eyes sharp. Humanity was not only defending Earth anymore, they were expanding again. Far away in the council chamber, the news arrived quickly. The humans have launched, one delegate cried. They are moving beyond their home world. Only one ship, another argued nervously. One ship is enough, Zor, the reptilian warlord, hissed. This is the first step. First a colony, then a fleet, then war. Lyra, calm as ever, lifted her silver eyes. Or it is survival. Perhaps they seek only to rebuild what was lost. Fool! Zor roared. They do not rebuild. They conquer. The chamber broke into chaos once again, but a new shadow fell across it. Rumors. Whispers spread that smaller species, the oppressed and the voiceless, were already reaching for humanity. Secret signals had been sent. Ships had vanished into hyperspace, perhaps bound for Earth. The Council realized too late that humans were not rising alone. They were gathering allies. On Earth, Vera stood in the hangar, watching smaller ships being assembled. She marveled at the humans' speed. Where other species would take decades to rise after such ruin, humanity moved with furious determination. You build as if every moment is precious, she said to Kane when he returned from the bridge. He looked at her, his face grim. Because it is. The galaxy will not give us peace. We must take it or make it. Vera's golden eyes softened. You do not trust the Council. Trust? Kane almost laughed. The Council debated while our colonies burned. They argued while our fleets were destroyed. No, Vera, we trust only ourselves. But if others stand with us, then perhaps there is hope. The eternal dawn emerged from hyperspace into the Eridan system. The crew fell silent as the view screens revealed a shattered world below. Once it had been a thriving human colony. Now it was ruins. Cities burned long ago, their skeletons still visible from orbit. Towers lay in rubble. Craters scarred the surface, Arya whispered. So this is what they left behind. Kane's jaw tightened. His fists clenched. This is what they did to us. And this is what we will never forget. The scanners picked up faint signals, old distress beacons still pulsing weakly after centuries. But there was more. Sir, a technician said, her voice trembling, there are ships here. Not human, small. They appear primitive. The screens zoomed in. A cluster of old freighters, patched together with scrap metal, floated above the ruined world. Their hulls bore no empire's mark. Instead, strange symbols covered them, symbols of freedom. A voice crackled through the comms, rough and desperate. Unknown vessel. This is the Free Clans. We seek no war. We only seek hope. Are you human? The bridge froze. Kane stepped forward slowly, his voice strong. This is Commander Elias Kane of Earth. Yes, we are human. For a long moment, there was silence. Then the voice returned, trembling with awe. The legends, they were true. The free clans were not an empire. They were fragments, species cast aside by larger powers, slaves who had fled, exiles who had nowhere else to go. For years, they had lived in the shadow of the ruined human colony, believing the myth that one day humans would return. Now, the myth had come alive. Cain opened a secure channel. "You seek hope," he said. "Then hear this: humanity has awakened. We rise not only for ourselves, but for all who refuse to bow. Stand with us, and you will never stand alone again." The reply came quickly, filled with emotion. "Then we stand with Earth." On the council world, the news spread like fire. Small species were flocking to humanity's side. The free clans had sworn loyalty. Others would follow. Jor slammed his claws into the council table, his voice a roar. "Do you see? This is the danger! They will not only rise, they will lead. They will gather the broken, the weak, the desperate. And when they do, they will become unstoppable." But Lyra only whispered, almost to herself, "Or perhaps they will become what the galaxy always needed." Back on the Eternal Dawn, the crew cheered as the free clans pledged their loyalty. For the first time in centuries, humanity had allies. Arya turned to Cain, her eyes burning with fierce pride. "It begins." Cain looked out at the stars. "Yes, Earth has awakened. And now the galaxy must decide. Will it fear us or follow us?" The ship's engines roared again, carrying not only humans, but hope. The silent Earth was silent no longer. The legend had returned, and the storm was here. The galaxy stood on the edge of change. The Eternal Dawn drifted above the ruined colony world of Eridan, surrounded now by the patched-together ships of the free clans. For the first time in centuries, a human fleet had allies. Small, fragile, unorganized, but allies all the same. Commander Elias Cain looked out at the scene, his expression hard yet proud. "This is only the beginning," he said. "One ship, one world, one people, but it is enough. Humanity has never needed more than that to start." Arya Vale stood at his side. "The Council will not wait much longer." "They argue now, but soon they will act." Cain nodded slowly. "Then we must be ready to act first." In the halls of the Galactic Council, panic spread. Reports arrived that oppressed races were leaving their masters, vanishing into the void, searching for Earth. Fleets were stretched thin as uprisings sparked in places that had been quiet for centuries. Jor slammed his claws against the council table. "It has begun!" Humanity is already a rallying cry for rebellion. "If we do not crush them now, we never will." But Lyra, calm and steady, raised her silver eyes. "And if we try to crush them, perhaps we only make them stronger." Humanity endures pressure. Humanity turns fear into fire. You cannot erase them. They are awake, and awake they will remain. The chamber split, one half demanding war, the other urging restraint. But no one could agree. And in that indecision, humanity grew. On Earth, the great factories thundered. Flames rose into the night as new ships rolled from assembly lines. They were not yet many, but each hull that entered orbit was a promise. Humanity was not finished. In orbit, the Eternal Dawn became the heart of a growing fleet. Small ships joined it, repaired from ruins or gifted by the free clans. Drones patrolled the skies. Satellites sang their signals into the void. And on the bridge, Vera stood beside Cain, her golden eyes wide with wonder. "You move so quickly," she whispered. "Other species rise slowly, cautiously. But you run before you walk." Cain smiled faintly. "That is humanity. We stumble, we bleed, but we run. Always." The galaxy was watching. Fleets shadowed Earth from afar, afraid to strike, afraid to wait. Traders carried tales of humans flying again. On forgotten worlds, slaves whispered of freedom, their voices rising into songs of rebellion. For the first time in centuries, hope had a name, and that name was Earth. One night, Cain stood alone on the Eternal Dawn's observation deck. The stars glittered outside, cold and endless. He remembered the old wars, the friends lost, the worlds burned. Humanity had been broken once. He would not allow it again. Arya joined him quietly. "Do you think we can win?" she asked. Kane did not answer at first. His eyes stayed fixed on the stars. Finally, he said, "Winning is not the question. Surviving is. Humanity always survives, and if we survive long enough, we win." He turned, his voice iron. "This time the galaxy will not silence us. This time the galaxy will listen." The Eternal Dawn's engines flared. It led its growing fleet out of orbit, not hiding, not running, but flying boldly into the void. Signals followed it, messages that carried across the stars. Earth endures. Earth awakens. Earth stands. And everywhere, those words stirred hearts. Hearts of fear, hearts of hope, hearts of defiance. The galaxy would never be the same. Above the silent ruins of Eridan, among the stars of a galaxy that had forgotten them, humanity had returned. The long silence was over. The storm was awake, and Earth's voice once more shook the stars.